what's your bad point?
Okay, well, mine is just I feel like this just needs to be addressed. It's a difficult topic to go through because there's not too much information regarding this fact, but just so there's a lot of reading between the lines that has to happen for us to really have much of a take.
Some would say, Maui, we do our best work reading between the lines because people then take what we say as speculation, put it onto play.gg and escorenews.com. It then becomes fact. And then the coolest thing is people who actually are involved with the story that we don't even know just start responding to us like we told them it's wrong. And in the fucked up way, we actually get the truth at the end. So just say any old shit now and we'll stimulate them to tell us what's really going on. So go for it.
Especially with Eastern European organizations.
No, I don't know why it is at all.
To correct me when I speculate.
Like, well, actually, Maui, that's not what we're doing. I know, I love it.
But then I get to be actually the voice of those teams eventually by the end of it all. I'm referring to Heroic benching Grixs 10 maps into his playing career with them. This to me sort of came out of nowhere. I mean, he played. Actually, it's not quite 10. It was a little bit more than that.
Come on, this is a good point for you, Maui. You love this. You were never on the Grixs train.
That's true. I mean, from what I had watched from Grixs when he was playing for Aurora, I just kind of felt like he was sort of a repeak merchant. He kind of was like the junior, like what NA is. Junior.
That's not negative to be a repeat merchant. I don't care. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, it's just that the style he played was so predicated on basically people not throwing good utility or holding for him to repeat. Right, it was just very online. Right. It's incredibly online when you just play like that.
Sure.
And so diving in a little bit deeper into how Grixs played, I mean, I can see that he wasn't also really going for always the most meta openers. Like he's not trying to get a kill in the first 20 seconds of the round a lot of the time. You can just see stuff with him that it feels like he's very cautious in the beginning, but then in the middle of the round, he just kind of goes crazy. It's a little bit of a strange style all in all, but really, I don't think that if I'm Heroic and I found this guy that was pretty much posting up 1.2s in tier 2, I would have given up on him that easily. And this is where we obviously have to read between the lines. Okay, they benched him and said stuff along the lines of he's not fitting the play style that they had envisioned, but then for Grixs himself, he said that they needed a different style of opper, but in reality, this is just being hard to. This to me is just you're hard to work with. You're hard to work with, and you can't really be coached. So, in a way, hopeful that Grixs is able to take the skill that he had and push it towards some kind of team that'll value it, because some of the best operas in the world repeak. Like that's one aspect of Torzy that I like. It's one aspect of Monacy that I like. Moladoy loves a good repeak, but they pick their spots really well. Then there's Poison and Grixs kind of erred more on the side of Poison from what I had seen. He was kind of just he was just swinging for the fences a lot of the time, and that's why against the best opposition in the world he was getting punished. Like he finally goes to some lands and he's getting punished a lot quicker and more regularly than he was when he's playing online. Like repeaking's just a little bit worse on land. I mean, you could get into that in any different way you want, but yeah, the whole Heroic debacle with Grixs just does not look good for them or him.
Yeah, I think I was optimistic about it, realistically coming in, because it was like Tanir was brought into the team, obviously from Belarus, and you bring in someone from his own country. They said they wanted to play together at some point. So I was like, okay, cool. You've picked up this exciting talent. Heroic had been great at picking up roster moves and building teams. But yeah, the sad thing is they got rid of Xflout as well, right? And I feel like that roster, he was actually a really good piece of that whole team. I think he was underrated in terms of how he was holding everybody together. So it's not like you're just making one change. You got Nilo coming in too, getting rid of Xflout, you're getting rid of some Pius, and most importantly, you get rid of Saul. So I think the whole thing just got blown up, and you have so many changes going so quickly. And so I think if you're Heroic, you have to realize that, okay, if we make so many changes, you make a coaching change, you make a bunch of player changes, this isn't going to hit the ground running very likely. You're gonna, you have to give this some time to build up. And the fact that they get rid of Grixs so early, I don't even think it's reading between the lines. I think it's just pretty obvious. Like it just has to be some issue outside of the server as well, because you would obviously want someone that you spent money on that has so much talent, and you would just give him as much time to try and become the opera, figure out how to use his skill set. So Yeah, it just seems like it's one of those ugly situations where a player has so much potential. I think Boros is a great example. These players, what they can do, but maybe they just don't fit into a team, or maybe they're just not what the roster is looking for outside of the server. Obviously, that's speculation, but it seems like that's a very likely thing based on everything that's gone down.
Okay. By the way, just a minor note, I'm not trying to, this is actually in theory a rare instance of Thorin-related cultural sensitivity. I will say technically, without going into the whole history of why it's to do with the Soviet Union, people from Belarus prefer you to call it Belarus, not Belarusia, because basically they don't actually consider themselves like Russian at all in any way, and that's just like a weird thing to do with how the Soviet Union tried to make every country seem like it was a version of Russia or the Russian people or whatever. Anyway, just to the side, just call it Belarus, it's all good. So you have to say Belarusian as well, not Russian. Just a little aside there. People who are Belarusian will appreciate that. I know that. So anyway, the point is, first of all, the most obvious thing about this that I hope everyone has seen through, but don't worry, as usual, people on Reddit managed to just literally I don't see through any lines. I just read only what is literally there. I saw there was loads of people that were making comments that were like, these are like upvoted comments, mate, that were like, why didn't they just fucking check the rules before they signed him? It's not fucking real. Spoiler, when they go, they had a different vision of what an AWPer was. Yeah, the vision was not this fucker. That's what they're basically saying. Like, what they mean is this. It's like, welcome to this guy. We hope it'll work out after 1 week. Like, well, it didn't work out. Get the fuck out. But we just had a different vision of what the AWPer would be. Like, I hope everyone does see through that. Like, this has to be, without knowing anything about the behind the scenes, this is the most blatantly obvious attitude / player behavior related
uncoachable
I've ever seen. Essentially, it is. Yeah, it's not even that much. It's just the idea they just don't want to coach this guy for whatever he's done within 1 week of play. Which, by the way, probably I will speculate is probably something wild, because I'll tell you what, it is kind of, even if it was attitude issues, because this is a team that, by the way, Heroic isn't a team with loads of great players lining up to join. And if you know that story that supposedly this is the guy that turned down Furia, he could have been there instead of Molodoi or whatever. It makes it sound like this guy was someone who actually a bunch of teams did think. I think he was also Gamer Legion or something wanted him. There's a few different teams wanted this guy and think he is a real talent and can be something on LAN, and Heroic took the chance on him. So the idea you boot him after this short amount of time, I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck what his stats is. There's no way it was about he couldn't shoot people with the AWP. This is just we don't want you, specifically you Grixs in this team doing anything. Goodbye, please leave. But you can't just be like, well, you know what? He was just a massive twat, wasn't he? So we just kicked him up his arse and he's out the team. It's not fucking 20 years ago. You have to make it sound professional. So that's why you've gone with the fucking, your own version. This is like the jail kick. It's like, well, we mutually agreed that I shouldn't be in the team and they shouldn't have me in the team. It's like, yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, how mutual was this agreement? You know what I mean? I'm sorry, in this scenario, either he just left or they kicked him. But it was almost certainly the former. But it's just so obvious. And then the reason why there's also a bomber to me, I think it's a bad, is because you have absolutely just set your squad back with this move. That's why it almost has to be some big behavioural issue, because you're starting from square one again and you're going to have to figure out your whole AWP situation, what you're doing going forwards. This is a bad thing. In theory, this was the player where the joke is, a month ago, we could have done an episode and this could have been the good that they'd signed this guy. And maybe he was going to turn their squad around and he would actually, he would be even better than some Pius who was kind of flagging a little bit on their roster. But instead now, if you think about where Heroic was after that IEM Dallas, where they looked good and they beat FaZe, mate, it's been what a waste of a month it's been since then. If anything, now they're irrelevant. No one even gives a fuck. So no, I think it's a good bad point. I'll just leave it at that. I think it's a good one. I also do think in general, the whole thing of but you should have scouted. You can never know what the chemistry will be like till someone's in the team. You just can't, I'm afraid. Especially because in the modern day, one thing we don't have, because I just don't think it would actually work, is, in football, they'll come and make you do a full physical just to check you're not injured, etc. Right? People want in esports there to be trials like that where you trial for a week. The problem is that'll never help you find this problem, because the guy who's a dickhead, if this person indeed is a dickhead, I'm going to speculate, they'll just be on their best behaviour for 1 week, then they'll sign the contract, then they'll become the tyrant, won't they? In that scenario, it's like thinking that the interview means you can tell if someone will be a good person in the office environment. You can't. In the interview, they're going to be on their best behaviour, saying all the right things. The problem is what happens 1 month into being in the office when no one's looking and they're talking shit to their teammates or something, So I don't, unfortunately, this just seems like a very obvious one, but I agree it should just be bad. Just put it on the bad side, innit? See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.